Hello there everyone and welcome to another episode of Feel Good with Emmy podcast, and today I have my friend Maryam with us, and we're going to talk about a healing journey. She's going to introduce herself and how she got into Ayurveda and into health and attempting to recover herself. But something that she done really nice just before we started is Marmaa energy points, which you can explain a bit better. And you can see how these ancient practices of paying attention to your breathing, touching your body in different ways, some self-care, self-love, which all mammals do to each other, I believe, anyways. Just reconnecting with ourselves, how amazing and calming and focusing and also energizing. I'm sure when it needs to be, you just switch it around a bit. So with that great energy and focus that you've given me, Mary, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into health and well-being and into Ayurveda.
Okay, so yeah, hello everybody. I got into Ayurveda because of my own health journey. Um, I've always been interested in health, and I think it's also because my mother has had quite a lot of health issues over the last maybe 20 years, and she's always been interested in alternative healing, using herbs and going into Chinese medicine and acupuncture and acupressure, reflexology. So it's kind of like in my history. And also because of my nan as well. She comes from Mauritius, and they're very much connected to the ground. They were farmers, and they're connected to the earth and the soil and growing their own foods and vegetables. And they would have different herbs that they would use together to like ease stomach discomfort, or for flu, or massaging the legs and things to help people to walk, just different things that were passed down from my nan to my mom, and then I guess to me. So yeah, I've always had this interest, and I think in the last 2 years where I had like quite a lot of health issues and I was going to different doctors. So I'll tell you a little bit about my symptoms. So I had like swollen ankles, swollen eyes. I was getting hives. I was getting burning palms, burning lips, constipation. My period had stopped for months and months and months. And I just remember thinking, something is going on with my body. What is happening? I would go outside and a smell could just trigger the hives. I remember one time I couldn't breathe. I was like struggling to breathe, and I had to go into the hospital. And I started going to all these different doctors, allopathic doctors, international doctors in the hospital. I was living in Vietnam at the time. And they did blood tests, they did stool tests, they did allergy tests, and everything was coming back fine. And then they were saying to me, you just need to take antihistamines and we'll give you some steroid cream. And I just remember thinking, this can't be my life now. This can't be it. I have to find out what's going on with my body. And I'm quite spiritual myself. And so I was like praying to the divine, to the universe for guidance. And I kept bumping into this lady. Everywhere I went, she was there. And I thought, what is going on? And then we ended up speaking. And I found out that she was a nutritionist. And she did these comprehensive tests, these comprehensive stool tests and comprehensive hormone tests. And she was connected with a lab in America. And I thought, okay, I just thought, okay, let's try this. I keep bumping into this lady. I think this is a sign. So I did the stool test, and when the lab results came back, it was discovered that I have 2 parasites, and I had a leaky gut, and I had a low immune system. And so that was actually responsible for a lot of what was going on in my body. It was like my body had been hijacked. And so it was so empowering to have that answer. And then after that, I started following a diet that she'd given me to help get rid of the parasites, but they kept coming back. And so I was like, I need to try something else. So then I went with a naturopath in Australia, and she sent me herbs, and I tried them for it was meant to be 4 months, but I ended up doing 6. And again, these parasites just kept coming back. And I thought, okay, what can I do? And it was actually really, I'll be honest, it was really affecting my mental health as well. I had so much anxiety, and COVID had just hit as well. And so there was like so much going on. And then around the same time, my mom was doing a little bit of research, and she ended up clicking on a video of somebody called Dr. Pankaj Naram, who is an Ayurvedic doctor. And Ayurveda comes from India. Ayurveda means the science of life. And it's a way of bringing balance to the body through diet, through herbs, through Marmaa points, which are these subtle energy points. And it's been around for 5,000 years. And it's all about keeping the body in balance and knowing that we are part of nature. We're not separate. Whatever's happening on the outside is also happening on the inside. The elements that are on the outside are within us. That's what Ayurveda believes. And so my mom ended up clicking on this video of Dr. Pankaj Naram, and she was like, oh, I'd love to like connect with him. But then she found out that he'd passed away. So then she ended up on another video of Dr. Clint G Rogers. And Dr. Clint G Rogers has wrote this book called The Ancient Secrets of a Master Healer. And he's basically wrote about his journey with Dr. Pankaj Naram. So my mom connected with him, and then with Dr. Clint G Rogers, she just had a really good feeling about him. And then she put him in contact with me, and she sort of said to me that, oh, it's because at the time she was sending me lots of videos, but I wasn't in a place to watch them. And then so when he messaged me, I was like, isn't that the person that my mom keeps sending me videos of? I was like, what is this? I was like, I better start watching these videos, find out what's going on. And then I found out all about, this other way of healing and bringing balance to the body. And he put me in contact with a doctor in England, an Ayurvedic doctor in England, and who was also started working with my mother, who was going through health issues. And it kind of all began from there, this Ayurvedic journey. They put me on some natural herbs to balance my body, to reduce the pitta. So basically, let me rewind a little bit. So basically, I realize I'm kind of all over the place, but my story will all start to come together. So in Ayurveda, they believe that we are a microcosm of the macrocosm. So what's within us is also outside. And so we've got all the elements outside. We've got space, air, earth, water, fire. And they believe that those elements are within our body as well. And they make up these energies. And the energies are called vata, which is the air space element. And it's responsible for movement in the body, anything to do with like speech, anything to do with like breath, breathing, movement of the muscles, transportation of excretion from the bowels. All of that is to do with the air element, or the vata element, energy in the body. And then they believe in something called pitta in the body, which is to do with heat and to do with metabolism, so your digestion. And then they believe in something called kapha, which is like the lubrication in the body. And they say that these energies in the body need to be in balance. And when they're out of balance, it affects the body. And so they use things like food, different herbs, to keep these elements in balance. When one of them goes up, you might get something, for example, if pitta goes up, the heat goes up, then you might get something like acid reflux. You might get skin issues. You might get skin issue, headaches. So with my symptoms, when I had to do a video consultation initially, because I was in Vietnam, Dr. Mira Soni, she said to me, just from listening to me speak, she could tell, because there was so much anxiety and fear, and I was speaking to her. She was like, okay, I can see that your vata has gone up because you've got these worries and fears. And in terms of your skin, with the hives and all that, you've got a lot of heat in your body. So we need to bring that back down. And when we bring those things back down and bring it back into balance, it will also help you to shift out the parasites, which will they use a detox to help you to do that. So I was on a detox, I was on herbs, and then I had like breath work that I was doing. I had some Marmaa points that I was doing, and it was such a huge transformation, because the hives have gone, the burning sensation into my hands have gone, the swelling around my eyes have gone. I used to have blisters all on my lips, gone. I used to have severe constipation. I wouldn't go to the toilet for sometimes 7 days. Now I go every day. My period is still irregular, but at least it's coming, which is good. It's coming, so it's getting there. You know, for me, I'm so grateful. That's the main thing. I'm so grateful, because when you're ill, and I know you will understand me, Edan, when you're ill and you're trying everything to get better, and you're like, please, someone, universe, help me. And then finally you find something that clicks with your body, and everyone has something that clicks with them. I truly believe that. And that's what this was. Ayurveda was a click. It made sense for my body, and it's worked for me. So that's my journey so far. And
yeah, very well said and summarized. You're a very good speaker. Absolutely, I can imagine in your dark times when you wasn't able to express yourself as well as you'd like to. It's very frustrating. But no, it's great to hear that you found something that works for you. And I guess what I like to share is that when you're dealing with a broken arm or something that is like an accident or an injury, that it's modern medicine able to help with, it's great. It's the great medicine system probably out there for these kind of things, and it's life-saving for sure. But when we're dealing with a chronic condition that goes over a long time, and medicine doesn't seem to have a lot of good answers to those kinds of conditions, it's great that we can find something that helps. And I know some people, oh, it's alternative, is the research behind it, is there much science? And maybe there isn't. And I will try to come up in future with a formula where it shows you, okay, there's not a lot of science behind it, but it's worth trying, because all in all it's safe. It's talking about eating natural food, removing processed things, using less chemicals if it's through cosmetics, shampoos, air fresheners, things like that, removing, and also connecting you back to your body with meditation, which has lots of science for it. So it's just finding the balance and tools of how to go to do something, because some of the listeners may be skeptical, as I am often on things, but I think there's a lot to learn from ancient systems, and we can pick and choose what works and what's ethical and what's safe, etc., and combining. So that's great to hear firsthand from you how well you done, and you look great. So it's a good sign. Our outside sometimes shows our inside, not always, but there is something to it. I know also you're studying, so maybe tell us a little bit about your studies, and what you did with me just now was brilliant, and maybe you can tell us more about the Marmite points and in more detail, because that's really interesting, and it's very easy to do. If you feeling not well, if you're in a dark place, you can just use a bit your breath, which anyone can do, because if we stop breathing, then there is nothing else to do. But breathing is a more minimalistic, basic. For me, it's a form even of exercise and fitness, because you're moving things around and circulation. So
yes, I love the breath. The breath is, to me, it's our divine right. It's a way of connecting to the inner, and journeying within. And I think it really links well to for me, it links well to what I've been learning in terms of Ayurveda, because Ayurveda, and this branch of Ayurveda that I'm learning about, has 6 keys. And so one of them is the Marmaa points. So these are like these subtle energy points that you can press on your body to remove blocks. Just like in acupuncture where they have, or acupressure where they have certain points that they press to release a blocked energy to get things flowing again. Ayurveda has that as well, and they call it Marmaa. Another key that they have is lifestyle. And lifestyle is things like your exercise, or it could be meditation, it could be breath work, it could be prayer, because that helps some people, it's part of their routine. It could be even things like things that are like self-love, things like putting oil on your body, or preparing like a really delicious, yummy, healthy breakfast, or a gratitude journal, or anything that's part of your routine that is loving to you. Another thing that they have is diet. Diet is a huge one in Ayurveda, and for any sort of chronic illnesses, they generally say no gluten. So yeah, none of your pastas and your breads that are made from wheat especially, but yeah, no gluten, no dairy, no nightshades, so like your tomatoes, your aubergines, your okra, bell peppers, no sugar, especially white sugar, and sour and fermented, which I know most people would find that shocking, but the reason why is many of these actually, especially the gluten and the dairy, they're inflammatory, and if anything chronic is normally, there's going to be some kind of inflammatory response that's happening in the body, and so those are like taken out. And then what they do is so the next key is detox, or Panchakarma, which is they have like centers in India, and also I believe in Australia and the US now, where you might, this is for people who want to do that. They go and stay for about a week or up to a month, and then they will be given certain herbs to help them sort of like detox, like go to the toilet, in terms of like going to the toilet and taking out those kind of toxins. They'll put you on certain foods that you need to eat. They'll give you like certain massages to kind of like loosen whatever's kind of like stuck in the body. They have the whole process of like loosening and then lubricating and then like taking everything out in terms of the bowel movements, but all done in a very safe and gentle way. Another way of detoxing is they actually have certain herbs and things and a diet plan that they give you, which is mostly having vegetables, pulses, such as like mung or mung bean. And the reason they use mung bean is because mung bean is meant to keep everything kind of in balance. It takes that heat from the body. And so, yeah, it pulls out the toxins as well. So when you're eating, so if you go on a diet of eating that, plus having certain herbs that are good for the liver, herbs that are good for the kidneys, herbs that also will help you to go to the toilet as well. That's another detox method that they do. And I've actually done that one, especially when I had the hives. And it really, like, there is like what would the word be? It's like restarting, rebooting the body,
like
so
a calming effect.
Yeah, because it's like you're taking it out, because there's obviously, when something's going on with your body, there's like a buildup of toxins, and so you need to get it out. And this is almost like, in some ways, almost like a fast, because you're still eating because you're having vegetables and soups and things, but you're not having anything that's going to trigger anything, have any big inflammatory responses. So yeah, so that's the next key. What else was there? And then, yeah, you get really encouraged, so home remedies, encouraged to stock your kitchen with healing herbs, things like cumin, things like turmeric, which we know is anti-inflammatory, fennel as well, which also takes that heat from the body, also good for female hormones, as we know. So they give you different recipes and things that you can cook, and they want you to be in charge of your healing, of your journey, and have everything you need in your kitchen. Your kitchen becomes your place of healing. And yeah, of course, the supplements that they provide. I think I've said all of them. So these are the keys, and so that's what I'm kind of learning about on my course, and I'm also learning about reading the pulse. So what they do in Ayurveda is they feel the pulse, and so they use 3 fingers. This one is to detect the vata, which I said was the air and space element. This one's to detect the pitta, which is more about fire, heat in the body. And this one here is for the kapha. And so what they do is they train you to start noticing the beat of the pulse, and which ones is higher, beating faster and more in excess. And that's how you can detect the imbalances in the body. So when I watch my tutor do it, it's incredible, because she will feel the pulse and she will say, okay, there's some hormonal imbalance, for example, or she'll say, oh, I'm detecting some neck pain or back pain, or I'm detecting water retention. Just yesterday, she was saying that she's detecting chemicals, and she was asking this person, she was saying, have you taken any recreational drugs? Sorry to mention that, but that's what popped into my mind. And he was like, he said he used to, not anymore. And so that's how what I find it so incredible that there's this healing lineage that's been around for 5,000 years. There has to be something good in it if it's lasted this long, and I think there's so many, like even Chinese medicine as well, like they understand that to heal the body physically, you've got to bring balance to everything, including the mind, including like releasing the energy blocks, and thinking about what I believe, body, mind, and soul, that all of these need to be in balance for health, to really be there. So yeah, that's my journey so far, and just trying to think what else can I say about it. Yeah, the course is, at the moment I'm doing a 3-year course, so I'm in my first year, but before I started it, I did the introductory course just to see if I would, what it would be like. And the introductory course, I loved it because I thought it was going to be very, very theory initially, and I'm quite, I think Idan, I'm quite artistic. I love practical, and what I loved about the introductory course is that yes, there was theory, but a lot of it we had to put things into practice. So we had to try the marmas on ourselves, these subtle energy points, and then write a diary, like say what changes did we notice. We had to do like some of the home remedies to like bring down the heat in the body, or whatever we wanted to try. I obviously did that one because that's the thing I need to work on. And writing down what we noticed. We had to go outside and like immerse ourselves in nature and find like herbs that are growing. I was living in Vietnam, so I was like, okay, I talked to the Vietnamese. I was like, what herbs are growing and which ones are like healing? Literally every herb in my school was like, every plant had a healing property. It was incredible. So many things. And there was also a task that was very interesting, and I'm going to share it here just because I don't know what you'll think of it. But one of the tasks that Dr. Pankaj Naram had when he first met his master was called Baba Ramdas. And Dr. Naram really, really wanted to learn Siddha Veda, learn the Ayurveda lineage, and become the best pulse reader. And his master said to him, like, kept saying, come tomorrow, come tomorrow, come tomorrow. And then he finally, when he did come again on the 100th day, Dr. Pankaj Naram was like, please teach me, please teach me. And then he was like, okay, your first lesson, go to the bathroom and go and clean the toilets. And Dr. Naram was like, what? He was like, I think you've misunderstood me. I've come here to learn pulse reading. And then his master was like, fine, come tomorrow. Anyway, what happened was that Dr. Naram did go and clean the toilets, because he was like, I want to learn. So he went to clean the toilets, and he came back, and then Dr. Naram was, his Baba Ram Das said, you haven't done a good job, because he went to check the work. And then he said to him, how do you expect to be able to clean people's bodies, minds, if you can't even clean the toilet? You know, if you're not prepared to like find everything that you can, to every ounce of dirt, and try and clean it in a toilet, how do you expect to do that in everybody else, in their body? And then Dr. Naram realized later on, when he reflected on the lesson, it wasn't just about cleaning the toilet. There was something about facing the ego, you know, because there's a part of us where maybe we're not willing to go somewhere or try something. And obviously in India as well, to, you know, for a doctor to go and clean the toilets, anywhere actually, to be honest, anyone in a profession is considered a little bit higher or something, to do that, you have to face your ego, you have to face your fears, you have to kind of, and wherever there's a fear and a block, there's healing to do there. That's what I think. There's healing to do there. It was one of the most powerful lessons, because I ended up having to clean a toilet. That was one of my lessons. I had to go and clean the toilets, and I went to clean the kindergarten toilets. And I remember thinking, how am I going to explain this to people? They're going to think I'm crazy. And it ended up being this incredible experience where even my students got involved. Everyone wanted to start cleaning the toilets. It was like the whole community coming together, wanting to clean the toilets, and realizing nobody's higher or lower, or no job is more important than another. They're all powerful positions to be in. And I think, you know, sometimes we have these fears about facing certain things, and then we realize actually it's not as bad as we think. And I think that even in my own health journey, I've had to go and face certain things that I wouldn't maybe normally do, go outside of what I would try. So I was trying everything, Idan. I tried infrared therapy, I tried oxygen tanks, I tried acupuncture, reflexology, everything, you name it. I was like, I'm going to go everywhere to try and find a way to get better. And yeah.
Which is often the case when we're desperate to get better. We do try a lot of things, and some things work, something less, but it's wonderful you found a system that covers so many areas of health and well-being. And I guess a small message is that we are so far removed from nature with the chemicals we created around us, which of course has some benefits. We all want to use a mobile phone and phone someone in case of an emergency, but it's a cost to pay as well. We all know that hygiene and washing hands with antibacterials and substances before an operation will save life, and a lot of the deaths during theaters has been cut down thanks to hygiene. But again, often those are chemical infused, so it's like a double-edged sword. But nonetheless, we're so removed from nature with our diet, we think, so we need to bring back a nice, healthy, natural environment. And I like it how they teach you to make home remedies, because that, as you say, it is taking back control of our destiny, of our health. And if we know how to brew a tea that can ease digestion, it's much better than taking some kind of a pill which will always have some kind of side effect. Yeah, so it's great that they empower you. I like that, to learn how to, and a lot of medicine coming from plants anyway, they're just more controlled because we don't have enough knowledge often how to use them in the right quantity and the side effect. So just take it as an opportunity, if you can, to learn about herbs and their benefits, and how to use them safely, because in high concentration they can also be even dangerous. So it's good to learn. So it's great they're teaching you that in school. Yeah, I like they cover so many things in the diet as well and stuff, and I'm sure they cover even things like postures and stuff like that, because that also helps expand your chest and breathing in
Yeah. I
and
mean, the breath work, it's something that's important. And I know that when I sit with and I observe my mentor, sometimes the patients that come in and she detects, high anxiety or worry or depression or something like that, she will recommend certain pranayama or breath work that could help to bring that sort of sense of peace and calm, because there's something very powerful about the breath, especially when you do the exhale. As you know, when you lengthen that exhale as well, it's like it relaxes every part of your body. And I know you know the science with the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system and all of that. So it's powerful. And to add that to your lifestyle is like empowering, because so many of us struggle with, I think in the world that we're living in, we struggle with anxiety more and more. And there's different pressures, everything's quite fast paced now. One of the things that Dr. Smita Naram, who is the wife of Dr. Pankaj, who is, well, he's passed away, she said that with Ayurveda, like, thousands of years ago, the herbs that they used to prescribe were different back then because the lifestyle of people was much slower. But she said today, when she makes her remedies and things, she knows and recognizes that people tend to be high in vata, which is the anxiety and the stress and the worry and all of that, and high in pitta, because when vata goes up, it makes the pitta high, and the pitta is all the fire stuff. So acid reflux, rashes, headaches. So when she makes the herbs, because she has a background in pharmacy, she makes sure that those are being reduced, so that when you take whatever herbs you're taking from them, it's not going to aggravate them more and make them higher. It will bring them back down. It used to be a long time ago, she said, because everything was slower paced, people tended to have more kapha problems, which is to do with more mucus. So the herbs that they used to do would be things to break down the mucus, which tends to be heating. But she was like, if we prescribe things that are too heating now, because people tend to have more heat in the body and more air movement going on in the body, it would just make everything more excess. So she's had to, she's changed it. And they're all, for them, they're really, really about the digestive system. They're like, we have to get that working properly. When we get that working properly, then we can get the healing of the body. That's why they get you to do the detox and remove the toxins, because once that happens, once that starts to work, you can absorb better. You can absorb the vitamins better in your body and start really healing all those different tissues in the body. It's my favorite, there's so many things that I love about it, but I really, as I showed you at the beginning before we started recording this session, I really love the Marmaa points. I love them. Those are the subtle energy points that I showed you. For example, here, just between the brow, here between the nose and the mouth, this point here, the earlobes. When you do them, especially with breath, what a change. What a change. It just brings you to that place of stillness, because it's unblocking an energy and getting everything flowing. We are all energy. We have energy within us. We know that. We're vibrational beings. And when something gets blocked and it's not flowing, you can imagine it's like having the hose pipe and somebody stepping on it and it can't flow through, and then when you release that block, everything starts to go smoothly again. So I do those with my students because I'm also a kindergarten teacher, and I've always done breath with the children, like body movement and breath and getting them to relax. But when I added the Marmaa points to our routine, oh my goodness, the change, like after they've come in from the playground and they're all like excited and it's great, but it's like, okay, we need to calm now to get to be ready to receive. what we're going to be learning. And then, I would just do these series of Marmaa points, and they would know them, so that they actually eventually started to lead it themselves, choose somebody to be the leader. And it's just they were more focused in their learning, more ready to receive whatever it was, whether it was like phonics, which is all to do with letters and sounds, or numeracy or something, just more ready, in the right space to take in information, new concepts, ask questions, inquire, all of that. Yeah.
I totally get it. It's a form of mindfulness and meditation, and it's so helpful. And I can imagine as children running around and exerting energy and all over the place, and then just to refocus them with both the breath and touch, which is so important, can really help them focus. And you're such a nice, kind person. I hope you'll keep working with children for many years, even if it's not maybe you are 100% planned for the rest of your life, but maybe for some times, because we need good people for the future of the planet. And I want to get back with to the pause. So a lot of people know I'm very skeptical, and I like my science and stuff, and we will say, what, measuring someone's health and well-being from the pulse without machinery? So we need to remember 5,000 years ago there wasn't technology, so working with technological tools and the old traditions is a winning combination. But just with the pulse measurement, I'll bring here something called heart rate variability. So heart rate variability, it's the time or the silence between heartbeats. So there are people specialize in measuring that with heart rate monitors, and this can give quite a lot of information about the person, calmness, depth of sleep, energy levels. So in Ayurveda, I guess it's a little bit like that. You learn both to feel the pulse, the pump, but also the gaps in it, and that's how you can also work someone condition. So it may not be as accurate as using a device that absolutely go to the beat and has ability, but I'm sure someone with a great skills and teaching it to others, to the students in certain schools, I can see as a first aid, as an immediate thing you can do between when you just see someone, you can see that, wow, that's giving them a tool to diagnose. It's all about diagnostic tools and knowing where the person in front of you is at. So even if we're skeptical, you can see where those things, maybe even heart rate variability, might even come from someone that studied Ayurveda and then became a scientist or a heart surgeon or something. So, oh yeah, back in the days, I remember grandma measuring the space in between pulses, and they just wanted to put it to the test. So yeah, for me, it makes a lot of sense, and all of these things have space, and it clearly worked for you. It's something I'm very interested in, and if I didn't have brain fog in time, I'm sure I will delve even more deep into it and study it myself to a degree. It just, it makes a lot of sense to me, a lot of these things. So thank you so much for being with us and sharing with us both your journey and this knowledge. And we can maybe leave a link below if you have a website or to Ayurveda practitioners you recommend. Maybe you already work with people and they can have a consultation with you. So we can look into that and some resources, further reading. Is there anything last you'd like to share with the audience before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I will leave a website. They're called Ayushakti, And so I think that we'll leave a link for that. I also want to say that if anyone is interested in learning a little bit more about Ayurveda, or just hearing other people's healing stories, this book, The Ancient Secrets of a Master Healer, one of the reasons I loved it is that it's written by a Western skeptic. Dr. Clint G Rogers didn't believe in anything like this kind of healing. So it's written by somebody who's like a science researcher who followed the life of Dr. Pankaj Naram to understand what he was doing. And if you do choose to read it, there are so many different stories in there of people with different things going on in their body. One person was in a coma, and you wouldn't think that she'd be able to come out of it. And it's just incredible. And if you're in a space of where you need hope, this book will give you hope, because there's so many stories in there where you think, oh gosh, how would they get better from this? And then they do, and you're like, what? So it gives you hope. And another book that also breaks down Ayurveda a bit more is this one here, Your Health in Your Hands, by Dr. Smita Naram. And here I love it because she's got like remedies that you can use. She's got Marmaa points that you can use for skin disorders, for hair, for stress and depression, sleep disorders, all these different things that you can try. I think, these two books, it's like they're trying to empower you to take your health back into your hands, to go into the kitchen and stock it up with what you need to feel healthy, to work on the mind, using the Marmaa points, using some kind of breath, using some kind of gratitude journal, whatever it is that makes you feel good. Our health is our responsibility. It's not just for us to go to a doctor. Yes, they're there, and it's wonderful that we have them, but it has to start with us. It has to start with us, that we need to take it back and prevent. Ayurveda is a preventative measure. It's not letting yourself get sick and then suddenly go, oh gosh, I need to get better. It's always trying to find the balance and be loving to yourself. So I think that's it. I just, I also do breath work. So if you ever want some marmas and breath work from me, please get in touch. I do conscious connected breathwork, and that's a story for another time. So yeah, thank you so much for having me, Adan. It's been so lovely to share with you. It's always an honor to connect with you. I know that you've also been on your healing journey, and you listen with so much compassion, so much empathy and understanding. And it's such a need for humans to feel understood, and you make people feel understood. So I'm so grateful for your friendship.
Thank you so much, Maryam. We're a reflection, I guess. Thank you everyone for listening, and I'll leave details in the description below of the books Maryam has recommended, and also of the details if you'd like to do some breath work with her. I wish you all the best. Thank you again for sharing with us your story and your healing journey and your studies, and I'm looking forward to reconnect in a future episode to catch up again.